President Trump today hosting a very emotional listening session on gun violence and school safety at the White House. School shooting survivors and families of victims sharing their painful stories, offering solutions following last week's tragedy in Parkland, Florida.
It should have been one school shooting, and we should have fixed it. And I'm pissed, because my daughter I'm not going to see again. And it stops. We all work together and come up with the right idea, and it's school safety. It's not about gun laws right now. That's another fight, another battle. Let's fix the schools, and then you guys can battle it out whatever you want.
Joining me now is former governor of Arkansas and presidential candidate Mike Huckabee. First, your reaction to the raw emotion that we saw. These things are so often scripted and become kind of plastic in a way, and as only inside the Beltway can. But this was anything but.
And I think that's what made it not only powerful, but, David, it was cathartic for the nation, not just the people in that room. But to allow it to happen organically was very, very strong. I've been to a lot of these presidential forums over the years, and most of them are scripted down to the last detail. And what I appreciated about this was that it wasn't scripted. It allowed people the freedom to express even very emotionally. And how can you talk about this without being very emotional? It was a strong moment, and I think it was good for the country to realize that there are some things that Americans can agree on, and that is we've got to get this right. And I appreciate the president hosting it.
The general tone was one of not only was it raw emotional, but it was trying to come to a consensus. It was trying to reach some sort of conclusion. There's no magic solution to this. But at least, as that one father said, you know, let's forget about gun laws right now. That's for another time, another discussion. Let's just talk about safety, about preventing killing right now.
And I think the hard part is going to be for us to get used to the idea that if we really want to protect kids in schools, you're going to have to do some things that frankly are awkward and uncomfortable. It means lockdown. It means one entry in, one entry out. It means that everyone who goes into that school has to be checked before they walk in. I got to be checked before I get on an airplane tomorrow. I'm on airplanes several days a week, and no matter how many times I fly, I still got to go through the same process. I know that's awkward and it's going to be cumbersome, but that's a starting place that I think most people could agree. If you don't get access to the school, it's going to be hard to go up in that school and start shooting kids.
You know, another point that was kind of a visceral point of what happened today, it wasn't spoken about directly, but was the need for faith to bring this country. That politics alone is not going to solve anything. Somehow we need to reach much deeper inside of ourselves if we're going to solve problems. And it is ironic, I think, that this is the day that we lost Reverend Billy Graham, the guy who brought religion, who brought faith, unabashedly brought it right into the White House, worked with 12 presidents. And people might forget you're not only a former governor, you're a preacher as well. How did he influence your life?
Well, I don't know of any life that he didn't influence. Even people that aren't Christians, they recognize that this is a man who stuck to his stuff. He didn't get off on anything other than preaching the gospel of Christ, and he stayed faithful to that. But I would say that Billy Graham may have physically died, but I like to think of it that he's more alive than he's ever been. And if, by the way, David, if that's not true, then everything he lived for, everything he said, is the greatest fraud upon human history. You can't say he was a great man and then say, but I don't believe that there is such a thing as a God. You have to either say, there's a God and Billy Graham told us about him, or there isn't a God and Billy Graham was a delusional nut and everyone who follows God is as well. That's the option you have.
Yeah. Well, he had influence with, I think, every single one of those presidents. I mean, you think of some presidents who had a lot of faith, some who, like Ronald Reagan, didn't like to wear it on his shirt sleeve, but clearly had the need for faith in his own life and to help him through his job as president.
And I think sometimes we want our presidents, to be Sunday school teachers, and most of them are not. But the fact is, Billy Graham's presence was a calming and a very powerful influence on the lives of presidents. And they listened to him, and he prayed with them. I think the important thing is that those presidents may have changed in his presence, but Billy Graham never changed in their presence. He went as an ambassador of God. He represented the kingdom of God, and he represented it effectively and powerfully. And it didn't matter if it was a president, a pope, a prime minister, or just an ordinary street kid. Billy Graham still represented the gospel the same way to every person with whom he spoke.
No compromise, ever, never. Forget about it. Governor Mike Huckabee, good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.